Someone's cat?
We're live, Jack.
Hello, this is Jack Spillane from the New Bedford Light, and this is the chat. Tonight, we have a special chat with, we had hoped to have 6 guests from the LGBTQ protests on March 3rd at New Bedford High School. So far, we have 2, and it's 2 good ones, so we'll start our program anyway. Welcome to Ave Acevedo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Ave. And Ave was there at the protest, both at New Bedford High School and at City Hall later that night, I believe. And we also have Justin Torres, who was also at both protests. So welcome to you both. So on March 3rd, a group of you New Bedford High School students did what the elected officials across the city had failed to do. You unequivocally condemned the anti-LGBTQ plus protests that had been put up by Sean Oliver, a city councilor finalist in Ward 3. Since that time, some city officials have come out and strongly condemned the post. Others have condemned LGBTQ protests, anti-LGBTQ posts in general. Councilor Oliver has issued what he says is an apology and said he wants to work with the LGBT community. So we'll see. My first question is, has Councilor Oliver reached out to anybody to your knowledge to talk to you?
No, I
think we're having a little bit of trouble with your audio, Abe.
You know,
you can, I'll just ask our producer, Dave Cuddy. Can you hear Abe?
She was going in and out. She was good a couple minutes ago.
Okay. So I'll ask that question again, and I can see Fallon Fernandez, Amare Fernandez's mother, is about to join us also. Abe, so we were talking about whether Councilor Oliver has reached out to any of the kids, to your knowledge, after he issued his written apology.
No,
he has not.
Hi, Fallon. How are you?
good. How are you?
Good. So we started right on the dot at 7 o'clock. So we're here. Fallon, you have a big light right in back of your left. So I wonder if you can close that drape a little bit.
I also have my daughter and Karina here as well with us.
We were trying to join, but the laptop wasn't allowing us to.
Oh, that's okay. We all understand. We've all been there. Is this Amare?
Yes, this is Amare. This is Karina.
Okay. And Karina, very good. Welcome to you both. That light is awfully bright. That's right in back of you, so it's sort of bleaching out Karina's.
I don't know if it's.
Do I have to turn on the other one?
Let's give me 1 second.
There's no switch.
Technical difficulties is always something.
Is this better?
Yes,
We just
much better.
we just switched rooms.
Yeah, much better.
And I'll save them back.
That's very good. And then I would tilt the screen down just a little bit. No, the other way. Okay, very good. Right there.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, that's sweet. Okay, so welcome to you all. Ave and Justin are already with us. So I was just asking when you joined, has Sean reached out to any of you, Sean Oliver, since he issued his written policy to meet with you or talk to you at all?
No, not at all, actually.
Okay. Not to you, Ave, and not to you, Justin, either?
Nope, nothing. The only person that reached out to us is the people from the New Bedford Lights.
Yeah, nothing for me.
Okay. So my first question would be, how Amare, did you first find out about Sean Oliver's posts, and What upset you about them?
My mom brought it to my attention, and I found it like, for me also being a minor and him posting mostly about adolescents and the LGBTQ community, me also being a part of that, it offended me a little bit. And for him, not a little bit, actually offended me a lot. And for him to be able to have decisions when it comes to us as minors and our education just throws me off a little bit, especially me being a minor and a lot of his posts being towards kids and the LGBTQ plus community.
Okay. And the rest of you, did you find out about through Amari's social media or Facebook posts, or all that?
Well, I personally saw it through Snapchat. There was a lot of posts going around, and one of my friends had reposted it, and I was like, yeah, we're doing this, like, let's go. And I just joined in.
It was amazing what you accomplished, because you condemned the posts in a way that none of the elected officials in the city had done. Do you think you accomplished what you set out to do? I'll start this one with Justin.
I think that we definitely made a statement, but there wasn't any change. He's still in the council, but I think that we set out a statement and we definitely got heard, and they know that we're not a force to be reckoned with, that we will stand up for ourselves.
Very good. How about you, Karina?
I definitely think that our point to be heard was achieved. I definitely do think that we did. Do I think that our point for him to take accountability was achieved? No. I don't think that there was an actual apology given out to anyone. I don't think he acted exactly on his word when he said that he would speak to individuals. He hasn't spoken to anyone. So I do think, yes, we were heard, and I love the fact that we have made a change and we have made a statement on we are very much not going to be reckoned with at all. But I definitely do still want to listen. I still want to understand why you think it's okay to post what you post and spread the hate the way you spread it and not take accountability for it and stand on all 10 about it. That's all we wanted, is for you to be honest, and you still have yet to do it.
Have you guys all seen the written apology that he issued?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Fallon, you've seen it too?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back to Amari. Did you feel it was an apology, or did you feel it still was lacking something?
I feel it was lacking a lot. I feel as though it seems as if it was just okay, these kids they want an apology, so I'm just gonna give them whatever I can give them. I'm not gonna really take accountability for it. I'm just gonna somewhat say that I know it was wrong at the time, but he didn't really say how he felt about it now. He didn't really give us what we asked for. We asked for an apology from him, by him, out of it. Not necessarily, we know that that's not what we're going to get, but we just want him to take accountability. We want him to say how he feels, and he has yet to say how he feels about it. All he has said was, yes, I know this was wrong. However, I need to do this for the city, this, that, and the third. It was never, yes, this is wrong, and I understand that it hurt you guys, and I'm gonna try to do this, that, and the third to fix it.
Abe, what about you? Did you feel like it was a sincere apology?
Oh, sorry, my eyes are watering. But no, honestly, I think that it probably wasn't even him typing. I mean, it seemed insincere. It seemed like a corporate message. It seemed like it wasn't meant for us. It was meant for him to get that little back off of him. Like, he wanted to just get rid of it and never think about it again. He's never going to reach out to us, and we know that. He wanted to get it out.
What specifically were you looking for that it didn't contain?
Just a sincere, like, in-depth, like, I did this and I know it was wrong and I should really act better, and I take full accountability, without saying that he's a victim, without saying that he thinks that at the time he just didn't know what he was doing. Like, just like I messed up, I am so sorry, and I want to be better for the youth so that they can grow up in a place where they are accepted and loved. That's not what we got.
Yeah. Justin, you talked to Councilor Oliver that night at City Hall, and you said to him, "Why?" If I remember correctly, you asked him, "Why can't you apologize right now to us?"
Yes, I did.
Yes, and so you didn't feel it was a full apology then. Do you still feel that it's not been a full apology?
I think if it was a full apology, he wouldn't have a problem doing it face to face, rather than having to type up something and look through it and try to mix his words so it seems like he's apologizing. If he was actually sorry, he would have done it in the moment.
Right, so it wasn't organic or, just genuine.
Yes.
Fallon, you must be very proud of what the kids have accomplished. Have you felt that it was an apology?
I felt as though it was an apology for the public and not addressed at the children. Again, he didn't take accountability. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He didn't condemn his own post and say, I don't feel this way anymore or anything to that effect. He kind of just watered it down.
There's been a lot of claims that were put out that, oh, these kids could never have done this on their own. They were being influenced by adults or liberal groups or whatever. How would you respond to that, Fallon?
Are you asking me? These
Yeah.
kids are the ones who put it together. So
Okay.
that's a better question for them to answer.
Excellent point. Karina, how about you? What do you think about that claim that you guys are being influenced by other people?
To be completely honest, I giggle at it for the simple fact that the only thing we're being influenced by is history. It's common sense. Where do you think that we got the idea to protest from? Because we've watched it happen. Where do you think we got the idea to speak out? Because in this generation now, where we are now in time, this is what we do. We speak out. We're going to speak out. We're going to continue being heard until we are heard. It's just like, it's more of, why do you think that I need to have someone behind my back that's older than me to tell me exactly what to do when I have my own mind?
When I can do it.
My mother raised me to have my own mind and my own voice. So that's exactly what we did. We put our voices together as two individuals and we made it heard as a community. Now, I giggle because we're too intelligent for that. It's
Dumb us down.
yeah, you can't really dumb us down, and I feel like that's what asking that question means is, why do you feel like I'm not capable of doing it on my own at my age,
Amari, what about you? Some people are saying, oh, her mother was involved, she's being influenced.
My mom definitely played a big role in it. But me personally, my mom isn't a part of the community. My mom doesn't need to feel offended by it because she's not a part of the community. So why would she put something together that she's not a part of? Is my point. My mom supports me all 10 toes. My mom loves what I'm a part of. My mom loves everything about me. So the fact that she loves everything about me makes me feel like I can love everything about myself, which makes me feel like if my mom can love me and she's at the generation that she is, why can't other people's mindsets grow up? Because at this day and age, you guys taught us in school about racism, about hatred towards LGBTQ plus communities, plus all that. And you tell us to fight for what we love and fight for what's right for us. But when we do it, you think that we're not capable. But we're at the generations where we have the capability to do that because we were raised different. We were raised able.
How old are you all?
I'm 17.
I'm 18.
I'm 15.
And
I'm
Justin?
14.
Okay, so do you think, so we have a good range, 14 to 18. You think it's a little insulting that people would say at 15, 14, 18, 17, you don't know your own minds, Ave?
I think that is a really, really gross statement. Because think about even a 5-year-old. A 5-year-old knows what they want at most times. If a 5-year-old tells you they want juice, they know that they want juice. So if I'm telling you that I know who I am and I know what I want to be and I know what I want to fight for, then I think you should automatically just listen and support it. Because even if in the future I'm like, oh, maybe I was wrong about my sexuality, maybe I'm straight, which I don't think will happen. Still knew it at the time. I fought for that at the time. So I think that kids should really be more respected because we are making change in the world.
Justin, do you feel like you know your own mind?
I know my own mind. The way that I was raised to not be silenced, make sure I can express how I want to be. And people telling us that in our day and age, we don't know our own mind, that we're being influenced by social media and all this stuff is just really upsetting because we're our own people. Just because of our age doesn't mean our brains don't function.
What did you think of the statements that were issued by the elected officials after you demanded that they condemn the posts? Well, I guess I'll start with saying, what did you think about the fact that you guys were the first ones to condemn it, and most of the elected officials in the city didn't say anything? Did we lose Fallon?
No, she's right here. She was just plugging in
No,
her phone.
just plugging in the phone before, so it didn't die.
Well, that's okay. I just don't want to lose you.
No,
Amari, what do you think about the fact that the elected officials didn't originally say anything, and then some of them eventually, after I called them all, said some of them strongly condemned it. Some of it kind of just made general condemnations about LGBTQ defamatory things. But what did you think about the elected officials' role in all this?
I feel like, honestly, it's a little bit insulting that their job is to protect our city, work for us. And I feel like we're working for them. We have to work for what they're supposed to already be doing. So I feel like for us to have to say something for it to be proven that it was wrong when it was already out in the public, I feel like for us, it's a proud moment. It's a moment for us to feel proud. It's a moment for us to feel accomplished by. But for them, I feel like it should be a moment where they should sit back and really realize, like, we should use our voices more, because if these kids can use their voices and say how they feel about a situation, why can't we? We're the ones that's supposed to be running the city, so our voices are the ones that are supposed to matter. They support us, but we make the decisions. So at the end of the day, our decisions matter most. So the fact that they're not supporting us, or some of them are, some of them aren't, however they feel is they're intended to feel. Everybody has their own opinion, but at the end of the day, he has his own opinion, yet his opinion affects us, and we are what he is trying to work for. He is working for us at the end of the day.
What were there some statements that some official statement that you thought was the best or better, and others that not so good?
No, not necessarily. I feel like everybody that decided to speak out at this rate, okay, didn't speak out before, but at least now you felt the need. Okay, these kids, they feel some type of way. They feel like we need to use our voices, so that's what we're going to do. So I thank them for that. Thank everybody that used their voice and condemned all of his posts. Thank you for that. But the ones that kind of just brush it off, it just kind of shows. It kind of shows what their true intentions are. It's not for us. It's just for the title.
The ones who didn't say anything.
Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Abe? What did you think about the elected officials not saying anything originally and then their statements later?
I think that maybe they just didn't know how much of a problem it was until they saw young people fighting for it. And I don't blame them for that. I mean, they're older, they come from different generations. They wouldn't understand it like we do. And so I would never hate them for not saying anything in the moment. Maybe they could have also been nervous or scared. I was nervous and scared to protest, but we did it. And I think seeing like us young people do it, they thought that they were like, okay, well, these kids are really making a change. Let's put our piece into it, like a piece of our mind into it. And they did it after.
Karina, were you satisfied with what the officials said eventually? Did you feel like that you got them to speak out?
I was definitely happy that our actions at least caused some of them to speak on it and some of them to condemn it. I definitely do appreciate, I feel like we all do appreciate the support that some of them gave us, and others that may have not have commented or may have not said much on condemning them. That's fine. I mean, as you do as you will, that's fine. But just remember when you sleep at night that you stood shut, that you heard our voices and you still chose not to speak. So that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But when you walk past schools and you walk past girls and boys and everybody else, children our age that aren't able to vote, remember that you hush-hushed the moment someone that is supposed to protect us and supposed to support us didn't. That's all I have to say about it.
Fallon, were you satisfied with the official statements when they finally spoke out?
The ones that did speak out, yes, I was very satisfied. I was very happy to see Shane there standing with the children. I was very happy to see Melissa DaCosta with the children and Superintendent Anderson and Bernadette Coelho. I was very happy to see the large amount of teacher and administrative support that was there for these children.
Great. At the city hall meeting, this question is for Justin and Ave. Did any of the city councilors, not Sean Oliver, I know he went over and talked to you, but any of the other city councilors that were in the room talk to you, Justin?
I know some of them introduced themselves, but none of them talked to us about like why we were there or what we were protesting for.
Okay. Did you wish they would talk to you about why you were there and what you were protesting?
I wish they wouldn't have been so like ignoring us, because some people did when they walked in. They just acted like we weren't there because they already knew what was happening. I wish they would have came and heard our side rather than just acting like we didn't exist.
Yeah. How did you feel about that, Abe? That bothered me a little bit. I was in the room and I didn't see many of the counselors. I'm not talking about Sean Oliver now, the other counselors talking to you kids.
Yeah, nobody made an effort to approach us. There was one lady while we were outside who was like, "You guys are so welcome, sit and watch." And that was the only person I know that talked to us, but she didn't ask us what was going on, like if we didn't, or tell us that she supports us or anything. And like, she doesn't have to say those things because she might not believe it. But you know,
was this lady a counselor?
huh?
Was the lady outside a counselor?
It was Linda Morad. It was Linda Morad, Jack.
Okay. And what did she say, Abe, again?
She just told us we could come in and sit down while we were standing outside.
Okay. Well, so did you feel like she should have said more, or was it enough?
I would have liked it if she said more. If she was like, "So what are you guys here for? Like, what do you guys think he did?" And like, just talk to us, have a conversation, because we're not some evil people who just want to like hurt a man's career for no reason. We want to have civil conversations. We want to have conversations with these people because maybe we can get them to have a different mindset, and we would have never like been like, "Oh, well, you're on his side, so we hate you." We would have just been like, "Hey, let's have a conversation." And I think she should have had a conversation with us, especially because she's an adult. But I'm not mad at her for not.
Now, Councilor Morad did say that she wants to find out more about why kids said they felt safe with the police union endorsing Sean Oliver. Have you heard anything more about the school resource officers, whether the council is trying to find out more about that, Amari?
Trying to find out more about it, no. But I do know our side when we set that up and when we put that inside of our letter, we didn't necessarily mean that we feel unsafe with them as individuals. What we meant by that was we felt as though them being part of the police union and supporting what they support, especially with them, they have to support the counselor because that's their job. So with them being a part of the police union, they have to support him. Therefore, what makes us think that they are going to have the mindset to protect us?
So it wasn't that you have felt in the past that the school resource officers weren't protecting you. It was just theoretical, given that they had made that endorsement. Would they still be with you?
I think it was more of like, when you were younger, has your mom or dad ever looked at you and been like, like, it's the people you hang out with, or if you hang around those group of people, at one point you'll become that group of people. You understand? It's like what our parents always told us. If you want to interact with those people, not necessarily interact with those people, but stay silent or not necessarily speak upon anything or continue to support. Well, yeah, you completely supported Sean Oliver, not you, but the union completely support Sean Oliver. So the fact that you can completely support him and completely back him after his hateful comments, disrespectful comments, and I just mean, inappropriate, to be completely honest. You support that and I'm supposed to feel completely safe around you. I just technically didn't feel safe in more of your choices. It's like, if you're going to be around that and you're going to continue to support that, okay, that's fine, but don't bring it around me when that's exactly what I don't support. Why would you bring it around a complete generation? It's a complete high school. It's full of hundreds, almost 1,000, freaking, I don't even completely know how many, but hundreds of kids that are completely different. We're all different. We all think differently than older generations. We all support something completely different. Why do you want to bring that around when it's just the complete opposite?
Yeah, so it just makes you wonder, like, if you're,
Yeah, like,
If your intentions are pure, more or less, it's more or
are
less
you
like,
are you working to protect me? Am I in your best interest, or is that money from the union best interest? Is that
because you're
it's-
not working for the school, you're
it's not
working for the
making sense.
police union. Working in our school as a police officer, you are getting paid by the police union. Therefore, you're not for the police department, you're not necessarily there for us. You're there to work for the police department to say, yes, they have protection, but are you going to protect us? Or are you going to protect what he says and what he supports, more or less? It's more like, where are your morals? Where do you stand?
so it's more like association. I'm just wondering,
Yes.
like, you're saying this guy is the best, and does that mean that you are with what he says about LGBTQ people?
Especially if you have your own voice. You might work for them, but you also have your own voice. So you can tell us, like most of this, the police officers that work in our school, they 100% supported us. They told us that they supported us. So that's why, well, necessarily not all of them, but like, I'm not saying police officers, but I'm saying security guards. They said that they supported us. They don't work for the police
Okay.
department.
There's only one SRO, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Is there one or two?
I think there was
two.
I would
There's
have,
two in
yeah.
New
I think
Bedford High.
there's
I'm
two
pretty
in New
sure
Bedford
there's
High.
two.
You're at New Bedford High? Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Justin, and Abe? Do you feel safe with the SROs, and are you looking for some sort of communication from the police union? How are you feeling about it, Justin?
I feel the SROs definitely help us be more safe during school because of what happens sometimes in our school. But I think that their morals, if they did support Sean Oliver's, totally could make people feel unsafe, because if you support him, you support his morals and you support what he said and what he believes in. And obviously what he believes in wasn't anything good. And it just, it's just really uncomfortable situations. And then sometimes as SROs do things at our school, and it's like, makes everyone uncomfortable. It makes really hard.
So have you talked to any of the police officers or security officers since all this happened? Would you like to hear from the police union?
I haven't talked to anyone, and I would like to hear from them and hear why they supported him, why they backed him up, why they didn't. If they said they didn't know, why didn't they do their further research before supporting somebody like that? Because it would go as easy as looking onto his social media and scrolling down a little bit.
What about you, Abe? The safety issue in the police union and the SROs?
I completely agree with Justin, everything he said, and with you. I think that we need some kind of security and SROs because, a lot of horrible things have been happening in schools recently, and we need that protection. But also, these people who are supposed to protect us are openly supporting a man who hates us, who hates the type of people we are, like specifically queer kids and kids of color and, kids with disabilities, just anything, because he's a hateful man. And I think that if you're supposed to protect us, you shouldn't support someone who hates a lot of the population of our school.
Amari, in general, how would you say is the atmosphere at New Bedford High for LGBTQ plus kids?
Honestly, we have so many LGBTQ plus clubs. We have a whole pride wall painted on our walls. There's honestly, everything's very welcoming. We have a whole gender neutral bathroom where whatever you identify as, whatever you want to be called, he, him, she, they, whatever it is, you're welcomed. I feel like our school, it's not something that people get bullied for anymore, because in our generation, it's become the new normal. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to hide about yourself, because this generation is our generation. It's the generation that we live in. So therefore, we should be able to feel comfortable in our generation. So our generations, all the kids in our school, from freshmen to seniors, we all most of the time we all get along, unless it's like a little disagreement, but it's never about sexuality or race. It's never that type of hate motivated. It's mostly petty drama in school, but overall the energy in our school is great. I love New Bedford High. I don't think it's a bad school.
So you don't hear the kind of jokes that were in Counselor Oliver's memes.
No, it's genuinely everybody, like even the people that just support me, even my guy friends, my female friends, my they them friends, my queer friends, anybody that supports me, they looked at the post and they felt some type of way about it. I had a lot of people that weren't even a part of the community that came to support and came to protest, because either way, our generation understands. It's no different. You love who you love, you care for who you care for. And that's that. It shouldn't be something that another person's worried about, because at the end of the day, it's not them. It's not who they are. So if it's not your business, why are you in mine?
Would everybody agree with that? That the atmosphere at New Bedford High is a welcoming one for LGBTQ plus kids, Ave?
Yeah, absolutely. I personally am part of the GSA. Last year I was the co-leader of GSA. I helped paint the Pride mural. I met a lot of cool people along the way, and I think most people.
GSA? What is GSA? What is GSA?
It's the Straight Alliance.
Gay Student Alliance. Okay.
And most people at New Bedford High are really supportive. I've met a really cool amount of people. Except there was some students who were like driving by on motorcycles and cars during the protests and screaming obscenities. But there's always going to be that handful of people. But other than that, I think our school tries really, really hard to accept it, even though sometimes they're not that good at it, but they try. They make the effort.
It's not necessarily the advisors either. It's mostly the kids. You can't come for a school in whole. You can come for the children. Because of course, there's freshmen coming in, kids from middle school, immature mindsets. Some kids that they're just like to make jokes about it. They think it's funny. But at the end of the day, nobody's getting beat up for being gay. Nobody's getting severely bullied for being gay or identifying as what they identify as or dress how they want to dress. Personally, I see a new style, or I see somebody a different look that I've never seen before, and I think, wow, that's cool. Like the fact that we have so many different varieties in our school is cool. It's not weird. Yeah. It's not to be ashamed of.
I think we definitely, as a generation, we strive to be individual. We love individuality. We very much love being different. I feel like at this age now, being different is great. No one wants to sit here.
Nobody wants to be the same person.
No one wants to be the same as we were in the past. That doesn't happen. We're more open-minded now. We like to explore. We like to learn new things about ourselves and figure out exactly who we want to be, so we can live our life to the fullest extent like we were meant to. That's exactly what we want to do. And at New Bedford High, I feel like, yes, there's people that are rude and say little things here and there. But as a whole, I feel the most comfort when I'm at school. At schools where I feel like I'm the most me, because I get to giggle, I get to laugh, I get to walk around school however I feel to be dressed and love exactly who I want to love. And I can yell on pans here and yell on pans there and yell I'm gay here, and no one's going to sit here and bug me about it. But sometimes when we walk outside and I dress a certain type of way and I say I'm pans here, sans there, there's a little bit of a danger zone. But when I'm in New Bedford High, I mean, like, it definitely feels great. I feel like our advisors and our kids do a great way of staying open-minded and becoming open-minded the moment you walk into the doors.
And a lot of our classrooms have pride flags in them. A lot of our teachers, a lot of our classrooms, just a pride flag there. I know a guidance counselor, Miss Cormier, she's the freshman guidance counselor. She has a pride flag that has a whole bunch of different colors. My homeroom teacher has a pride flag. He has a wife. Like,
even when there are cases of bullying for being gay, or people even just being like, oh, you're such like an F slur, I hear multiple teachers, counselors, security guards being like, stop it, or like just putting a complete stop to it. Like somebody bullied somebody I know, I'm not gonna say names, but for being trans, and that got put to a stop immediately. Like they try so hard to make it safe for us, and that is one of the reasons why if I went back in time and I could choose from any high school I would want to go to anywhere, I would always choose New Bedford High. I love this school.
Exactly. And it's
That-
like,
I just
I'm
want
so
to,
sorry.
I just want to touch with Justin for a little bit because Justin, you're a freshman, and freshmen sometimes get bullied, whatever their background is. And so have you felt it's welcoming at New Bedford High School?
Coming in, I was very surprised because at my old school, there wasn't many people like me. But coming in, I was very surprised at how welcoming and caring everybody was. And the only issues I've had is people who are uneducated, but they want to become educated and they want to learn. And when walking in on the first day, and I had to tell teachers that I went by a different name than what was on like the roster and stuff, they were all supporting. They all asked what pronouns were, and you could tell that these teachers are getting the right information on how to treat kids coming in like this. Because now, trans people have always been a thing, but now it's becoming more open, and people are not being as ashamed. So I think New Bedford High is a very supportive place, and it makes me feel safe. I'm at it all day, every day. So
Well, that's really good to hear. That's so good to hear, Justin. Karina, did I interrupt you? You were saying something?
Oh, I was basically just saying like that I think I actually don't recall. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
I'm
that's
pretty
okay.
sure I was saying how great New Bedford High was, but that's that's
Okay.
basis of what I was saying.
I want to ask Fallon as a mom that hearing these kids say that they feel welcome at New Bedford High, that must be reassuring to you to hear.
Of course, that's my alma mater.
Uh-huh. Now, do you feel it's different than when you were there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Much more welcoming to LGBTQ
Yes.
kids.
Yes. Because even in my high school years, it was still kind of a taboo. It wasn't talked about.
Yeah.
So I mean, this generation's loud. These kids are loud and they're proud, and I support.
That's great. So I want to ask one thing that's been raised here is that that this was all political. If this was done to help Sean Oliver's opponent, who might run against him in the fall, Carmen Emerald. Amara, can you address that? Is there a political aspect of this? Are you guys supporting Sean Oliver's opponent?
We couldn't hear you.
We couldn't really hear you.
Oh.
Somebody was calling my
Do
mom.
you mind restating?
Okay, sure. So one of the charges that's been made is that this was all political, that you guys are trying to help Sean Oliver's opponent who might run against him in the final election in the fall, and because there's another Ward 3 election in the fall, so that they're trying to help Carmen Emerald. Can you talk about, is there a political aspect of this? Were you trying to help his opponent?
Honestly, if you want me to be 110% honest with you,
Yes.
again, I am a minor. So usually I don't get informed of this kind of stuff. So my mom was a big push for me I didn't like what he said. So honestly, I don't know who Carmen is. I will look into Carmen. I will let you guys know my opinion on her once I know about her. All I know is that right now, all that matters is that Sean Oliver needs to condemn his own posts. He needs to say what he has to say. He needs to stand 10 toes down on it, because this has nothing to do with political aspect. I don't turn 18 till September 11th. I won't even be able to vote yet. So, will I? Yeah, I will.
Yeah.
I will. But
Will you be able to
it
vote in
wasn't
November?
political led. It was just belief led. It was led by my personal beliefs and how I felt and by my opinion. It had nothing to do with politics whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm
Karina?
ready for November. I'm ready to vote. I'm ready to vote. I turned 18 and I was ready.
Yeah. So was there a political element to you? Was the purpose of this to help Sean's opponent?
This was to be heard. This was simply so that older people, our elders would understand that we're not quiet. We're very much outspoken, and we're going to be heard, and you're going to understand that things are not okay anymore. They may have been okay, but they're not flying by anymore.
We're gonna stand on we as a generation, as a whole, we are gonna stand on our 10 toes as a generation. We're gonna stand on what we believe in. Now we're expecting the older generation, and right now, specifically Sean Oliver, to stand on his 10 toes. And even if he doesn't feel the same way about his posts that he posted before because they were in the past, he could have a completely different aspect. His mindset could have changed because, again, no matter how old you are, wisdom is always something that you can gain.
Exactly.
Therefore, if he feels a different type of way about it, he should be able to say that. But at the same time, no answer is also an answer.
I know exactly how you feel the moment you don't say anything. The moment you don't say anything and you can't admit your wrongs and admit something was hateful and admit that it was not right to say, then that's all we need to say, I guess.
Well, you sound wise beyond your years, Amari. Wisdom is something that can always be gained. That's a great thing to be aware of it at your age. I do have to ask you, Fallon, because you're an adult and you can vote. Are you supporting his opponent? Is it about supporting? Because that charge has been made.
No, not at all.
Okay, you just were
I don't
offended.
know why other adults continue to think that these children don't have their own minds and their own beliefs and say the things that they want to say. So
Well, maybe those people have an agenda.
right. So when my daughter says I was very much a big influence on her holding the protest, she said, "What can we do?" And I gave her options. And
Like any mom would do.
I gave her options. And when she chose the route to protest, I said, well, we have to do this the right way. You can't just stage a walk out of school
And
for
everybody
no
leaves.
reason at all. So
So
this has to be done and the right steps have to be taken so you guys can be taken seriously and not get in trouble for it.
Sure. What about you, Justin and Abe? Any political? Were you working for any of the campaigns? Any political goal on your part? Abe?
Yeah, I think that I'm not old enough to vote, and this might seem like bad, but I don't care who wins as long as they're not awful. Like, if Sean Oliver's opponent runs and wins, and we find out that he made the same amount of jokes, let me tell you, we would be protesting again because we're just not gonna let it fly. Like, I don't care who it is. You can't be like
His opponent was a she. So, what a beautiful dog. What about you, Justin? Is there a political? Are you trying to help the other side? Did somebody supporting Common Emerald come in, try to get your support?
Well, I'm 4 years away from being able to vote. So by the time I'm able to vote, these people probably won't even be candidates at that point. But my family is a Ward 3 family. And it wasn't per se, I support the other side. It was, I support people getting educated on who they're voting for first. So when all this happened, my sister is actually very close to being able to vote. And I was talking to her. I was like, when you're able to vote, since we are in Ward 3, you should be looking into like who you're voting for and trying to find more background, because like I said earlier, all this stuff that he said could have been done by finding his social media and scrolling down, and you could see what he posted.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know who the other candidate was.
So, Abe, you had mentioned earlier that there has been a little backlash on social media with some folks giving you guys a hard time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
So I said something at the protest, which at the time probably I shouldn't have said. And I do apologize for that, but it also was taken out of context. So I was talking about the fact that a lot of old, straight, white men like to stomp all over us. And then it cuts to the part of me saying, let's get a screw all white men. And let me tell you, I was getting dragged in those comment sections. I was getting dragged through the mud. And a lot of people stuck up for me though. And I believe Karina was in the beginning of the video. And it was like these old men, And I noticed that a lot of them didn't even live in New Bedford. Some of them lived in Fall River, Rhode Island. And it was just concerning to see that people care this much about what children say or do.
And honestly, I don't think personally that Eve meant screw all white men. I think what she meant was screw society for making white men think that they have the power that they do.
Thank you.
I don't think that she was able to like put it into words that I think she should have said screw society for making white men think that they have the privileges they do and that they can run us the way that they think that they can. I don't think she meant necessarily the race itself. I think she meant what history and what we have been taught has made men of that color specifically think that they can do and think that they have the privileges of.
Yeah.
That feeling does seem to be out there nowadays, that white men are being discriminated against now because there is so much sensitivity to people of color or to LGBTQ people. What do you think of that, Karina? That white men are being prejudiced against now?
One minute.
I personally don't think that no one's picking on white men for real. We're not trying to be like, oh my God, I hate that white man living down the street from me or my white landlord. I don't hate him. I'm not mad at him. What I feel like is more is screw white men that built the system. That's all. It's the way you built the system. We're quite literally all building. I mean, we're quite literally all living in a system that they built. So, personally, I just feel like I can't really make a full-on comment on it. All I can say is screw white men that made the system. That's all I can say on it.
And me being Native American, I am part of I have Native descent towards me. I am part of the Aquina tribe. So with me being Native American, knowing my history, knowing where I came from, white men took my land. They took almost everything, literally. And I'm Native American, so I know my history. I know what happened. So therefore, it's understandable why people say, or why people are now saying, screw white men that have the feeling that they have the privileges or the rights because they created, or their ancestors or whatever created the system or created what we know as our laws or our rules or what we have to do and say or how we can act or how we can present ourselves. So me being Native American, I feel as though it's understandable. It's very understandable, but it's also to a certain extent because, again, not all are bad. Not all have horrible morals. Not all have, what's that word? Intents. Like not all of them have, like horrible intentions. None of them have horrible intentions. Not all of them do, but some of them do because they feel like they have the privileges because of their history and their past when it's all backwards. Just because you took something from us doesn't mean that you have full control over it anymore, because again, our generation is not something that's going to be quiet. We are going to be loud and we're going to be heard.
As the only white man on this panel, I can only say I think we have had the advantages for a long time. We were involved in the system, leading the way that had a lot of problems. There wasn't the awareness now. I don't see why it's the end of the world that we can't apologize for, the wrongs we did.
Thank you.
Everybody, no one is perfect in this world. And, I just don't see white men as having experienced the level of discrimination as people of color, LGBT people have. My last question before we wrap up, I want to ask about where do we go from here? What do you think is the so we've had this protest, it's raised a lot of awareness, you had a lot of effect. Where would you like to see it go from here? Mari?
Honestly, I'm still hoping for maybe I'm not saying a face-to-face conversation with Sean Oliver. I'm not saying I don't want him to do the most extravagant thing, but I want to hear him. I want to hear him. I want to listen. I don't want to see what he has to say over letters that are typed on a screen. I want to hear it. I want to listen. And I just want to know that we're heard. I know our point got across, but I want to know that he wasn't just listening and he was hearing us, because we're trying to reciprocate energy. You said what you said, you felt the way you felt at the time, stand on it, because we feel how we feel now because we have the opportunity to use our voice. So now that we feel the way that we feel at this time and day, tell us how you feel at this time and day, because not all posts were made at this time and day. So again, mindsets can change, anything can change. So I'm just hoping that more awareness is open. I hope that people now understand, of the older generation, that we're not going to be silenced anymore, that we do have a voice, we will be heard. We don't care what your opinion is on us. We have our opinion as you do yours. So we're going to say what we have to say. You say what you need to say and do what's right. That's it.
I also think that this was us promoting change. I think that this is showing others that felt or feel like they're not brave enough to walk out that classroom and stand for exactly what they believe in. Go ahead and do that. Go make that poster wherever you are around the whole entire world. Make that poster, stand on what you want to believe in, and make sure you're heard. If that's what you believe in and you feel like other people need to hear that, go stand on that. That's exactly what we want now.
That's what we're here for.
We want that just as a community now. If anyone feels like there's something needs to be brought to light, let us know. Not us individual, but I mean, let us as a community know, and then we'll speak on it.
And I feel like us as a generation, I feel like the older generation should honestly look at us and be proud. I feel like they shouldn't have hatred towards us, because at the end of the day, you didn't have the opportunities that we have now. You weren't able to use your voice the way that we are, because you were going to get serious repercussions for it. We're doing it the right way, and we have the opportunities to be able to do what we want to do. Therefore, our voices will be heard because yours weren't able to.
Exactly.
We're trying to do the work that you were not able to do, that you wanted to do when you weren't able to do it. And now that we're able to do it, you want to hate on us for it. We're just trying to do what history taught us that needs to be done. You're teaching us that hate crimes were happening. So now in the modern day, we need to fix that. So that's all that we're trying to do. We're just trying to fix mindsets and trying to have people be more open-minded, not necessarily change their beliefs, but be open-minded.
Alan, I think you have a couple of future politicians yourself on your hands. They're very well spoken. What about you, Ave? Where do you think we go from here? What would you like to see happen?
I would like to, again, not like she said, like not a face-to-face conversation, but even like a video of Sean Oliver just accepting everything he did and even apologizing for that whack apology that he issued. And I also think that we as queer people should be feeling safe in New Bedford. And I think that there's a lot of things that City Councilor Sean Oliver can do to make us feel safe, such as like making a statement about telling like his followers to like knock it off, because even after the protest at City Hall, I got flagged down by a man who started recording me and asking me about some of the things I said at the protest and why I said them. He had a very angry tone, and I'm a plus size Puerto Rican lesbian. I was scared. And I think that he should let young queer people feel safe in New Bedford. And I think he needs to do something about that, because I did not feel safe.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Ava. That's very disheartening.
Yeah. It's okay.
You're beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, I was very uncomfortable when I saw that video of him in the high school with you, actually. Justin, what about you? Where do you think we go from here? What would you like to see?
From here, I think, like everyone else said, I want an apology where we can see the words coming out of his mouth, where it's not all cut up and they're not like all one take. It's obvious that he's not reading off a script or trying to memorize anything. I mean, it's good to give yourself points that you need to hit, but then again, having everything written down and analyzing it through and through again makes it so much less sincere. But I also think that we should continue to help educate people who are voting within New Bedford to research and actually go out and vote, because I think it was only 7% of Ward 3 voted.
6.8.
Yeah, like it was, when I heard that, I was like, that's very small. And I was like, we just need to get out there more, that you need to be voting, you need to be doing the research on who you're voting for. And that if you don't, people who have bad morals, who won't do the right thing, will be coming into office in council.
And we'll be in charge of your kids that are going to your schools.
We are the
Mm.
future. We very much are the future. They're the future. Ava's the future. We're the future. My little sister's the future. Everything's, we're the future. There's no more the past. Stop living in it is what we want them to do. We want y'all to stop living in the past because there's no reason to live there.
Because it wasn't that good.
Y'all are not 15 no more. It's not. If we were still there, then I would probably not even be able to go to school or speak my mind. Stop living in the past.
Especially us being women, Justin being trans, Ave. I don't know what you identify as, they, them.
I'm
I know
non-binary.
that. Non-binary. See what I mean? Like everybody is something
sorry.
different. I'm like, I don't wanna like offend you or anything. I'm sorry. But like, see, it's as simple as that. Like it's a simple, hey, what do you identify as? Like what's your pronouns? Like I'm not saying like you have to go up to every single person and it's like a, but if you notice like, oh, it kind of off-put them, it's more like, if you have respect for yourself, have respect for me as a human being too, because we both bleed the same blood. We all bleed the same color. We all bleed red. So at the end of the day, we live on a floating rock. I'm going to do as I please. I'm going to love who I love. And at the end of the day, nobody's going to stop me because again, we are the future. So the future is this. This is the future.
My
said.
identity is my identity.
Well said. Well, I as I said during my call, I spent some time with Sean Oliver during the campaign. He seemed like a nice guy. I think what he did was reprehensible. It should be condemned, but I think all of us are better than the worst thing we've ever done. And I hope he will talk to you. And I think he will. And I'll be interested to hear what he says. Is there anything I didn't ask you tonight that anybody would like to make that point before we close?
Just thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just want to make a point to say thank you
Thank
for
you for-
supporting us and
yes.
allowing us to have another platform to share our voices.
Thank you. I'm just so happy that you kids took part in this tonight. I'm so impressed by all of you. You're all so well-spoken, and Fallon, all I can say is you did a good job raising these kids.
Thank you. Thank you. I can only take credit for this one, but thank you.
Okay, all right. So this is Jack Spillane with the chat in New Bedford Light. We're about a minute early, but we're going to wrap up. We've been here with 4 of the kids who protested at the March 3rd LGBTQ plus protest at New Bedford High School and at City Hall. And they're hoping to go forward. They hope it's been an educational moment for the community. And thank you for taking part in the chat. Good night.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Have a great night. Bye.
Good night.